Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today is a really great day. I got to meet one of my magical internet friends recently at one of the Bitcoin bin meetups. This is DivvyDaddy, Patrick. And if you guys don't already follow him on Twitter, make sure you're following him on Twitter. He is just has a heart of gold. He has one of the highest standards of integrity, and he is looking out for the community. In every form of everything that he does. And so I'm just really excited to share his story with you guys and let you know more about what he's doing to help educate the community and bring resources to you. So, and I'll let you know what I'm doing with it. So, it's already improved our life, and I'm going to let you know what he's doing in the crypto life. So, give us a like, share this video, and let's get more people living the crypto life. Hi there, Patrick. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I'm so happy to see you.
Thanks, Lisa. It's fun to be here. That was quite the intro. I really appreciate that.
Well, we've had some things behind the scenes that, and I don't know if I've told you how much it meant to me, but we've had some challenges, and I've seen how you've handled some things and how you've helped people um, with some different situations, and your integrity has stood out to me, and I just really appreciate that about you. um, it means a lot to me, and those are the kind of people that I like to work with, and I just think that's a really important thing, especially in this space, because I've had some friends that have been hurt, and I've been hurt by some people in this space. So it's just something, especially as I introduce people to the community that I care so much about, it's just something that's really important to me. And besides, you have that cute little baby that I love so much. So
I know. Thank you so much. Yesterday, he's 10 months old. He's 30 inches tall.
he's
And
a big baby.
it's like north of 20 and south of 30. I don't know where he's at. I always get it wrong, but he's
Yeah.
just like, he hurt me the other day. He kicked me in my face, slammed my head to the ground so hard that it was kind of embarrassing that my 10-month-old is literally going to start beating me up. And my head still hurts from that kick, man.
Well, you do have that gorgeous, tall, drink of water wife. So, I'm
Yeah,
sure that it's,
we-
you can't be too surprised that he's going to
yeah,
be tall.
lucky. I gotta admit, I'm a lucky man. I'm pretty blessed these days.
You are, you are. Well, so I wanted to bring you to the community, introduce you to my crypto fam, and let them know. We met through social media. You're friends, of course, with Litecoin Leader, and work and on the Crypto Confidential project with him. Um, we can go into all that kind of story. But what was your background? I know you have a lot of background in Bitcoin mining. Um, what's your background from there? How did you get into cryptocurrency? What was kind of your genesis of all of that?
Yeah, so my first exposure to crypto was back in grad school. A friend of mine was getting into Bitcoin and wanted to use some computer lab hours to mine Bitcoin, and ended up sharing some of his profits with me, which I watched grow pretty quickly. And then, to be honest, what ended up really happening, the truth is, I needed to find a different way to stop my ex from taking all of the money that I'm trying to build for my new family. So I decided to quit my job in healthcare. You can't
Wow.
take
Okay.
you can't take a percentage of nothing. So I figured out a different way to relive my world where I could benefit and not have the whole legal system dipping their hands into my pocket every day with every decision I make. And I wanted to control my own schedule. So I looked at something else, and I basically sold everything I had in the stocks, everything I had in properties, and got into crypto mining, and haven't looked back since. So I stopped mining crypto, specifically Bitcoin was what I'm into. I guess you can call me a Bitcoin maximalist per se. because I
Okay.
strongly believe in the value of Bitcoin long term. And I guess people would ask why. And at the end of the day, the reason why is um, I love Bitcoin mining. It's fun. There was a lot of work to it. There was a lot of engineering that into effect on how to cool down your facility and the power consumption. And it was kind of like a nerd thing. And so I really believe that there's a lot of work behind understanding how Bitcoin mining works. So I value it a lot more than some of these coins where all you can do is stake. Similarly to Litecoin, I just couldn't make it very profitable for mining Litecoin with the power rate that we had.
Okay, because that I had actually heard the opposite, that Bitcoin mining was so expensive with the way that the algorithms changed or the equipment that was needed, and with that at this point in the game, like it wasn't even doable unless you were like some giant,
Yeah, I think there
player
are
in the game.
periods of time, and depending on the difficulty and the network hash rate at the time, when I was getting into it, it was right around 2015. So
Okay.
we got into the L3 miners, the Antminer L3 miners when they came out, and we did a test run on like I think 30 devices with the same amount of power draw, and we realized that Bitcoin was quite more profitable for us. So we abandoned Litecoin and Ethereum mining and stuck with the Antminer S9s at that time, then went to the T15s and then the S19s. It's been a lot of fun. And I just got out of mining Bitcoin in 2019. And I guess I could say I retired was my goal.
Okay.
I, I just wanted to enjoy my wife and the baby. And I knew that was something that I wanted to do. I just didn't really care too much about work. I just wanted to enjoy what I have, which is my wife and my whole, my three little kiddos.
Mhm.
There's nothing else I really want to do in life. And then I decided, hey, I'll go to a Bitcoin Ben meetup. I want to go meet people who think like me. Next thing I know, I met Jeff, Litecoin leader, and ended up becoming my best friend for life. He's like totally my BFF. I love that guy. And we kind of just kept starting to do work and helping the community. And next thing we know, Omar comes along and he says, hey, why don't you do the same amount of work, but just do it in a way that makes sense? We're like, well, that's okay. That sounds good. So we started on this journey into crypto confidential. So really, I just kind of came out of retirement just because the community needed me. I didn't know that I knew something that people wanted to know.
Yeah, that was it's been really surprising for me and really encouraging. I started doing some classes on my Patreon channel. Westwood and I do the Happy Hour Roadshow,
Yeah.
and we go on the road and do the show on Fridays. And then on Saturday, we do the Crypto 101 class where we just, very basic teach, what is money, and then teach people how to download a wallet and how to just send crypto, just really basic lessons. And it's so valuable. And then I had a phone call or a Zoom call with Omar, and he's like, Do you know how many people would love to know what you know? Think about where you were, you know, when you were a single mom and 5 kids and trying to figure out what you're going to do. And if you could have known what you know now, like how empowered you would have been. And I thought, man, you know, what I could do to, help other women in my situation, where I was then. And I don't know, just it's really encouraging to think, I think we get caught up in the day to day of where we are now, and we forget kind of how much we have learned, because there still is so much um, that crypto is still growing. We still do have a ways to go before we hit that granny wallet. It's still kind of clunky. The transactions aren't exactly as easy as Cash App. They're close, but there still is some learning curve there. um,
I laugh a little bit when I hear that because back in the day, and I'm the person who gets to say this, which is weird, you had to like go physically meet up with someone and have
yeah,
them send you Bitcoin. And so to me,
and
it's
do Bitcoin. Yeah.
oh yeah, and you're like giving cash or like PayPaling someone, and you're hoping
Mhm.
that it comes through, all so that you can send it all off to China and hopes that they're going to send you miners. It was insane.
That's crazy. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
And then you
So,
get an $800,000 power bill that you have to pay at the end of the month, and you have to figure out how to take Bitcoin and turn that into power bill.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that was fun.
So is that even like at this point, is that even really feasible? I mean, for the average Joe mining Bitcoin, is that even really feasible at this point?
I mean, you could probably run a miner or two if your power is efficient at your house, but most of America has like power rates above, 7 to 8 cents a kilowatt hour, which makes it really not very profitable for you. And even if you could at your house, you can only run maybe a miner or two. So it just wouldn't ROI. I'd say the answer
Okay.
is no. You'd need a really large facility with it, or you just really need a really good power rate. That's the most important thing in mining. So if your power rate is from like a co-op, some coast areas have them and stuff where it's like 2 cents a kilowatt hour. You can max out your power and be profitable for sure with a miner or two, but it's very, very hard to find a place where you can get 10 megawatts to draw enough for a mining facility and still make power payments worth it.
Okay.
It's too expensive.
Wow. Okay. So what would you say, alternatively, if mining isn't, what would you say the best like passive income um, option would be for, well, I guess mining isn't even really passive income because there's still work to do in that.
Yeah, because with mining, for example, you get a Bitcoin miner that let's say is worth $3,000, or now they're even going for more, like $15,000. But
Wow.
you know for sure the value is going to zero. The value of that miner is going to be worth nothing someday in the future. Maybe it be a couple years, maybe 4 years at the most, probably.
So that is a depreciating asset.
Absolutely. So you could do that, or you can invest your money into a project. There's a reason they call me DivvyDaddy. It's because I really like Divi. My kids are actually the ones who came up with the name. They're like, they should
That's
call you
funny.
DivvyDaddy, and made me a shirt. And then next thing you know, I was asking Nick Saponaros at Divi, saying, "Hey, can I have your permission to like call myself that?" And he said, "Sure." And that's how DivvyDaddy was born. It's because I really like Divi.
That's
An
funny.
alternative to spending all my money on miners that were going to go to zero, I put it into Divi, and Divi went from a penny to 3 pennies to 10 pennies. And, you know, along the way, you're still making all the rewards at 30%. And there's zero electricity bill, zero cost of insurance, zero physical rental space, zero infrastructure setup, zero maintenance. It was a no brainer for me.
Interesting. Um, wow. And so that was, pretty early on. So that was part of your learning curve as well as moving from mining Bitcoin with you physically doing the work and handling the miners to moving to that proof of stake. I mean, and that's where you hear a lot of people talking about that kind of being the future or the wave. But you see so much value. At the same time, you still say that you're a Bitcoin maximalist, that you believe in the power of Bitcoin and that proof of work. So that's
Yeah,
really
last
interesting.
week you would have thought I was at Disneyland. Jeff and I got to go, Litecoin leader, we got to go over to a mining facility
I
called
saw I saw the video.
And I was just explaining to him, I was just so excited seeing all the transformers and the hum of the miners. Like, I love mining. It is so cool. It's just for me, not the most profitable way to
Mm.
earn my living, to keep my value, to store my wealth. I think that having a lower maintenance style of having my income is kind of where I was going with my family in the first place. I just wanted a low maintenance life where I can enjoy my wife and kids.
So that's kind of like seasons in life. I think about, that right now in my life has changed so many times with, my kids being little. Well, first, being married and no kids, being a single person, then being married and no kids, and then kids. And then now my kids have started leaving the nest. I just have one at home now. And so pretty soon my husband and I will be empty nesters. And there are these seasons in life where things change and your needs change, your needs for your home change. And with that, your portfolio changes or your financial needs change. And that's where I was telling you before we got on that I had a call with Michelle from Crypto Confidential because after finding out about the newsletter, when we were in Texas for the Bitcoin Bend meetup, I got to come to the kickoff for Crypto Confidential. We actually did our happy hour show from your kickoff party, and that was a lot of fun. And then I was hearing about the newsletter and what you and Jeff were doing, Litecoin Leader were doing, and the content that you guys are putting out. I mean, the very first, I got my binder. So you get a binder, and the very first volume or the very first issue has like just kind of blew me away with the amount of content that's in it. And kind of had my husband and I rethinking some of our plan of where we are and kind of the needs and some restructuring that we might want to do. And so we put a call into Michelle and kind of thinking about, what's best for our family. But the resources in there were pretty amazing. And thinking about, I was sharing with you about what was this? Well, we were just talking about it. Just the crazy stuff going on in the world right now with the
KYC going on.
with what's going on in Canada and all of that. And there was a bill presented in Congress today in the US about, let's see, Keep Your Coins Act was introduced this morning by Warren Davidson as a response to what's happening in Canada. And so can you kind of talk about that a little bit and why you think there's a benefit to that or how that would affect the crypto community here in the US?
Yeah, so right now, when you have a store of value in the US, let's say your bank account, and you're going to be spending, let's say $10,000 or more, the IRS and the bank, they're talking about that transaction, and they're required to report on that transaction. And then furthermore, companies are not allowed to accept payments from people who are not KYC'd because they're not a financial institution. So they don't have the ability to accept, let's say, pure crypto payments without knowing who the person is. This bill would change that, allowing you to be able to hold your own wallet and be your own custodian of your own coins. So you could truly do a peer-to-peer transaction on the blockchain without the company knowing who you are or having records through a third party.
I think that's invaluable. When I saw this, it also brought up another issue that I wasn't aware of that Michelle brought to my attention that I did not know that there was, issues that I get concerned saying certain words because I have lost my channel before talking about some of these things. But I didn't know there were issues about holding gold and silver in your own possession and benefits of holding it in an IRA. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe if they do that with crypto and the coins in crypto, maybe they would change some of that with the custody of gold and silver as well. I don't know. I don't know if those.
Yeah, I guess the way I think about those structures in general is I recommend to people to reach out to an attorney and to really have them look at your individual scenario, because every person is different. Everyone has a different need and a different time and different goals. So we want to like take an individual approach because it's not a one size fits all answer, especially with your goals in mind. It could be very different if you don't plan to leave the US versus if you do. So I think it's really important to take a look at it just based on conventional wisdom, but also look at what the legal options are to protect your money, your value. That's the
Well,
goal. Is to
I think that's where joining Crypto Confidential was so beneficial to us because I don't know that we would have gone and sat down with an attorney or made an appointment or known, oh, do we call an attorney or a CPA or who do we talk to? But the team that you guys have together for us, so it's $1,500 for a year's membership, but you not only get access to an attorney, she's a financial planner, investment advisor, Then Omar's in there and has experience. I don't know all his designations, but has experience with overseas investment planning. Um, Jeff has all of his experience. You have all of your experience. And what it helped us do was kind of get a broad overview. And then we have, is it monthly or bi monthly AMAs, live AMAs, where Crypto Confidential members can get online on Zoom calls and ask questions. Then there's the online community where you can get online and so when you're well this I'm not logged in, this is their website, but when you're a member there's a website, like a social media website where you can get online and there's different chat rooms and
So
you
if you
can
scroll
ask
all the
questions.
way down to the bottom, there's a link
Oh,
at the
is it?
bottom for our members, and you
Okay.
should be able to click on that link and it'll save in. You can kind of give them a little preview, but yeah, the idea is this forum will give you the option to interact with everybody and figure out what the information is, like the repository of information that you want to use. Um, and for us, it's just making sure that we're all on the same page with a specific crypto topic that we're talking about. So
Hmm.
have a question about crypto taxes or staking rewards and how they're taxed, and we can talk about it there. We have a forum for people who want to talk about their lovely pets, and that's cool. If that's something you're into, that's fine too. We have a place where we talk about silver and gold. We have a place where just for the newsletter. So for us, it's really a place for the whoever is part of our group to connect with us, ask the questions. Right there, you're seeing the access to the AMA that we do. So we do 2 every month, the first and third Wednesday of the month.
Hmm.
That's an opportunity to show up, and after you've had time to digest what we've been talking about as a group, what's coming out in the issues, if you have any questions, ask to the whole group, because I guarantee it, if you've got a question, everyone else wants to hear it too.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Even this new member Q&A, the introducing myself, that's been really cool. Um, Getting started, newsletter selfies. I haven't done mine yet. I need to do that. Um, Training courses and presentations. There's just been a lot of really cool. This 10 commandments of crypto, you've got to touch on that. I
I
know
am
that's,
football one in our group, right? So for me, if you look through your binder, I'm the only page that has color on it. And to our group, we decided to make a one pager. So in your binder, that blue sheet is specifically the Crypto 10
mhm,
Commandments. Because to us, that's really the foundation of what we're doing. It
that's my,
could be a blue sheet.
yeah, it is. It's in here.
Yeah, that right there is the 10 founding principles of if you do this in crypto,
Yeah.
you will be safe and you will hold your wealth in a valuable asset that's not going to depreciate the way that the dollar does. Because we know that crypto commandment one, I guess I'll give them a freebie.
Okay.
Crypto commandment one, the dollar is garbage, right? We understand that the dollar is garbage in many ways. And we start talking about that in the rest of the commandments as to why that is a guiding principle of how we decide to treat financial decisions, or when we talk about valuable assets. What do we do with our valuable assets? How do we store them? How do we value it? Why do we value it that way? Do we borrow against it? When do we sell? Those are the types of things. How do you whittle down 16,000 coins into 10 coins? Jeff's article was how to take, I mean, what, probably more than 16,000 coins.
He
And he,
put like 10,000 or something. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
he
I don't
wrote
know how many he put
it
in
was,
there.
but he took all these coins and it took him down to 10 coins. So you're going to know Crypto
Mhm.
Confidential's top 10 picks. And if you've even watched it, like I told you, we were talking about one before the show. It's done 400% in the last 2 weeks. It's just pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of value in there. I also thought the way that you guys really present the information and then you're not telling people what to do. You're presenting information and letting you make a decision. Like the way you walk through it, you present the Omar information, and it's like, well, and if you're not interested in that, what did my husband was talking with Michelle, and she was saying, there's shades of gray, and it depends on what shade of gray you are, and some people are more comfortable really, you know, following that, walking that tightrope, and some people are, more that rule follower, letter of the law. And so you can do whatever's comfortable for you, and they have all those resources for you. So it was really helpful for us to kind of find, like, we love America, so we're not really interested in so much leaving the country or being operating outside of America. So those kind of weren't our options. So we were looking more at like the things like a trust and an IRA and things like that to protect our assets. And so um, it just was really interesting. But like I said, just helped us make kind of those decisions that were best for ourselves. But I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, those are really great discussions. But again, it really comes down to knowing your options and evaluating your risk. And at least you get to make an informed decision and
Hmm.
you get to make the call on the risks you want to take based off of appropriate information because you know and you have done your research.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like you said, if you know your options, if you don't have a clue what's out there and available to you, then you're really just in the dark about it. And I don't know that we would have, taken the time to go, sit down, make that appointment. It's intimidating. You don't know, what the expense is going to be. What are you signing up for? What are they looking at? And also sharing. I don't know that I want to share all my information with somebody. I don't have to, I didn't have to share my personal information with you guys. I'm a member of the community. I'm part of Crypto Confidential. I'm a community member, but nobody has access to any of my information.
No,
I'm
we just
just
assume
getting,
that you can do basic math. So we just talk in terms of
right,
percentages and round numbers, and you can insert your own numbers. We don't need to know your information. And
right.
I would be remiss to go through any show with anybody without telling you straight up, guys, do not share your private keys with anyone. If someone is asking you for that, they are trying to scam you. Do
Mhm.
not share your private keys. Keep it secret.
Yeah, that is for sure, for sure. Um, what else was I gonna hit on? Those were kind of like the main things I really wanted to just share what I thought was really the most valuable things out of it. I think the AMA, the content that's in there, the community that's in there, everybody's really active and responsive on the resource, on the online activity and forums. Um, and then the newsletter comes out once a month. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The goal is so that the electronic version of the newsletter will be released to all our members on our members area. So in the forum area, you remember there was an area where you can go in there and look at the PDF version of it, and that's
Okay.
in our crypto confidential members page. But then we also are going to be sending out physical copies to you if you'd like. You just have to let us know your address, and we'll ship out a copy to you and make sure that you keep getting every month's issue. We've got a lot of people really like the binder itself. They like being able to hold it and read it and highlight it and put their notes in it. It's something they like keeping around for their friends to read. So, the idea is here it's not about the whole money even. It's about just learning to grow together. The idea is we can all win with each other.
Mhm.
You like it and you want to refer a friend, there's an affiliate program and you can get half the money back. So if you tell one person about it, you've already made half your money back because all we care about is helping people win. We want to see everyone break free of the garbage central banking system that tells you that debt is good because it inflates all of our numbers. And guys, it's garbage. Like,
Yeah.
let's be smarter than that. Let's put our money into each other, into our own communities. Let's help each other win. And
Oh my
that's what
gosh.
I'm here
Yeah,
for.
yesterday on the show, Sean had me pull up this video of John Stewart talking with this retired Fed guy, and he was like, he was just having the light bulb moment. And he's like, "What? Are you kidding? So wait, they've added how much in this last you
Yeah.
know last year or whatever, $6 trillion?" And So, and it's backed by what? Nothing? And he's like, yes, it's backed by nothing. It's a fiduciary. You have to trust, have faith. Yes. And and he's like, oh, just can't believe it and just, beside himself. And I'm like, how is this news to people at this point? But, I mean, I was there too. My mom introduced us to crypto in 2017 and I had no clue before then, and we have that same thing. We were introducing my daughter and her fiance to crypto, and when we were having those conversations with him, and we're like, well, what do you believe the dollar's backed by? And he's like, well, gold. No, nothing, absolutely nothing.
Sounds
And
like my
there's
mom a little bit. Reminds me of like the conversations my mom would ask me, and the way she would describe to her friends like what I did for a living in
uh,
2017. He he buys he does the Bitcoin. She's like had no idea what to say. What is like she had no idea what I was doing. Eventually, she'd be like, she'd heard more stuff about it being like nefarious. So then
oh,
she thought I was like, "What are you doing with the children?" Like, Mom, what are you
oh,
talking? I'm in a warehouse by myself. Like, what do you think I'm sitting here doing? Like I'm in the middle of Bend in a
just
warehouse.
tell her you're working with computers.
I
That
know,
would
and
be
now my family's all coming out of the woodwork asking me. So I just, I begged them for like 7 years, like, "Let
mm,
me help you guys." And they didn't listen. A few of them did,
mm.
and they're the ones that I now accept their phone calls if they need help. And the ones who didn't ask help back then before Bitcoin became big, now I've decided to value my time differently. So basically, they get the same access to me as every one of my members of Crypto Confidential by signing up and becoming a member because the information I'm going to do, I'm going to share it once with our team. All our members are going to hear about it. We'll dialogue. We'll go back and get more information. But I don't have time to waste on people who aren't going to take it seriously. Like I've got a lot of good work I'm excited to do for our group, and I got you have to kind of burn those. Jeff did a video about like people not being able to get their time back and how that's your most valuable asset, and it really lit a fire under my butt to make sure that what I'm delivering is high value content without taking up too much time. And anything I do needs to be valuable if I'm going to give my time to it.
Well, and that is what money is. I mean, money is a representation of our time. And that's why, we talk about in our happy hour show and in our crypto 101 classes that five silver coins in 1964 was minimum wage. And if we had stayed on a silver standard, that would be 22 or $23 an hour. And it's not that the the minimum wage was broken, it's that our money is worthless now because it's not. And so money is just a way that we store our time, our value of time, to be spent later. And so when they go and print more of it, they're actually stealing our time from us, and they're making us slaves to them by stealing our time, while
I
we
can see how
sleep.
you make that correlation because you basically expect that when you work your butt off for 40 years and you retire, that $1,300 a month that
That
you
you
were having to live on was going to be able to give you the time at home
The
with your family.
time,
But
yeah.
you
They're
don't get
making you a prisoner.
job
Yeah,
at Walmart as well because they can't afford to retire because now the kids are making as much money as they are on these little, EBT cards every year. So,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Your social security and your fixed income that you had worked with for the last 50 years doesn't make a dent in the bills anymore.
yeah, and that's what my mom was talking about, and I'm pretty sure that's the quote that they ended up using on, we did a commercial recently for, a friend with, that's gonna be featured in NFT the movie, and, mom was quoting was saying, like, they were asking, "Why are you in crypto?" or whatever, and she's like, "To try to protect my retirement," or who's gonna look out for, I can't remember mom's exact quote, but it was like, "Who's looking out for my retirement?" Because what do you do in that situation? And there's all these boomers that were promised this, retirement that now, is fading away, and, there's helicopter money coming in, but it's worthless, you
Yeah.
know?
especially sad to people like, who had a mortgage before the 90s.
Mhm.
You know, where a 13% interest rate was normal for buying a house, things like that, where they see the value of the dollar. They understand what it was to pay for a gallon of milk and how many eggs you can get now for a dollar. So they really see it more than we do as, the young people. We only know about it because we read about it, but they
Mhm.
live through it. They see it. They know it. They feel it in their heart. And I think that's why you're seeing so many of our elderly population, they're moving their money into something that stores their value better than their garbage dollars. I keep telling people, if your financial advisor has not recommended cryptocurrency to you, fire them.
Right. They're not keeping up with the times. Yeah. Yeah. They're so behind. At this point, they've got to be so behind if they're not,
They're
if
really
they don't
behind.
know about Bitcoin at this point, they're really
Yeah,
behind.
we held
Yeah.
off on saying that for a few years, but at this point, any financial advisors that are my friends, and you guys know who you are, I talk to you. You guys are
Mhm.
late now. You guys are fired.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not looking out for you at that
No, they're
point.
not.
They're
They're looking
making trades and they're looking out
at
for what's getting them,
want a
the big
bigger
money.
population getting their money into their portfolio so they can make a cut off of it. And that's not what
Mhm.
we are about. We want to see you grow your own wealth, hold it yourself, and make sure that no one can take it from you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I really appreciate you and Leader had a call with my husband and I and helped us really think differently about um, how to hold our cryptocurrency, really changed our mind about our strategy. Um, and just I think that's another thing, like generationally, we had a mindset about how to do things, and you guys really gave us that's another thing about being part of the crypto confidential community, sharing those different ideas and the way you live the crypto life. Um, it is a different mindset than the dollar and the way we were thought to or raised or thought to look at money. And so because it is an appreciating asset, you treat it differently. And it really changes the way you plan for the future too. And so I don't know, do you want to share a little bit about how I don't know how much you want to share or what's
It's your show today. You let me know what you want to hear. Ask me.
well, yeah, I'm just curious, like, so when you and your wife got together, like, was she on board totally with the whole crypto lifestyle and you guys living the crypto life? Or was she like, what are we doing with this? Because you had to make that transition together and being a married couple, we've had discussions where I'm like, you know, oh, I want to do it this way. And he's like, well, I want to do it that way. And, you know, you have to come together and figure that out together. And thankfully we had you guys come in and give us, and we both learned something and we came together when we got more information and we both see it together. We have a pathway together now, but we had to get more information to get there. Have you guys had those same kind of moments where like you weren't necessarily on the same page all the time? And
Yeah,
what was that journey like for you
yeah.
guys?
So when I got the opportunity, when opportunity knocked right at my door to go do this Bitcoin mining, this was in 2017 when I was no 15, 16 is when we opened up large scale. Yeah, I think the time is right about 16. We had a flood at our house. Our whole house flooded at the bottom. And I was like, no, let's save the money. Let's do it ourselves. Week later, I got the call. And so I was like, I'd already decided I was going to quit my job, get out of healthcare, and do something different. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was just so stressed of living that like
Mm,
day to day, 8 to 5 lifestyle, driving an hour there and back and trying to make it work and never getting time with the kids. I needed something different. My mental health was suffering. I needed to do something different. Uh, and so the house just flooded. I'd quit my job. And then she's like, hey, so what do you want to do now? You want to go to 3 hours away to start a Bitcoin mining facility? She's like, what's Bitcoin? And I was like, listen, I tried to explain it to her and she was like, okay, if you really think this is what you want to do, I support you. So we ended up driving 3 hours away, like several times a week. We ended up getting beds and putting it upstairs at the warehouse. We slept in the warehouse. Caitlin, oh, I can show you. I've been holding it
You
here.
slept in the warehouse? Oh my
This
gosh.
is a first generation miner in my mining facility. This is an Antminer S9. Back then it was 13 and a half terahashes. And every one of these, we'd have to plug in 9 different cables, and she'd have to log in and program every line. And we didn't know what we were doing. And I found out a year later, after I had really gone full scale and we had thousands of miners up. I found out like one of my partners now, Tim from Pro Bitcoin Solutions, created a script. And instead of my wife spending hours doing it, it took the guy 1 minute with a button, programmed
You're
all the
kidding
devices.
me.
No, she spent like hours and hours and hours and hours a day. And ever since then, that's the day when she said, I'll never help you again. That we were off for quite a bit, but I remember when we
Yeah.
got on is when we went to a Bitcoin ATM at the mall, and I was like, I'll take my Jack's wallet. Let's play this game. I don't know how this works. So I put
Okay.
it in, went to the ATM, and it starts spitting out $20 bills at my wife, $900, right? Just kept coming out at her, and she's looking at me like, what did you just do? Like, what's happening, right? And, she's taking the money, and
She's
she's
looking around.
starting to freak out, and I'm laughing, just going like, I can't believe this worked. you know,
You're like, it's real.
so like, how many phones can I buy now? Because if it's per phone line, like I'm gonna go buy phones, so I could just cash out Bitcoin, right? So then you started learning how to pay for your electricity, big bills, really big bills, and learning how to leverage against your crypto because back then, who wanted to sell their Bitcoin at $3,000 when you knew it was going to 100,000?
Right. And that's that whole Michael Saylor conversation. Um, where when you have an appreciating asset, why would you sell your crypto and why would you ever sell it? And that was really hard for me to wrap my brain around.
So
You
back in
know,
the day, we had to find private wealthy investors who are willing to buy my Bitcoin and give me a loan on it. Um, but at the end of the day, now it's so easy. Everyone
yeah,
has.
that would be really scary, I would think, because what kind of not to, I'm sure they were very nice people, but maybe they weren't.
It was the people that trusted me with their money in the first place to loan me out the money. So we worked together. We all won together. We all cashed out together, and everyone's happy. I would never trade that solution for a heartbeat. They made money. I
Yeah.
made money, and I was able to move on and do it again and do it bigger and better in the way I wanted to do it. So it totally worked out, but it wasn't always easy with Caitlin and I. There were times where she didn't understand why our credit card bill is so high or why I have so much money on my credit card or why I'm so happy with a credit card score that's like garbage. She doesn't understand why I think it's hilarious, but she doesn't get that I don't
Yeah.
play in that game. I don't care what points they give me. Like, I don't play your game. You might as well give me 0 points. I don't need it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't care what my credit score is because that system's broken, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
system I care about. It's like if you've got a really high credit score, you're doing something wrong, or you're just really, really, really wealthy and you don't need any debt at all. But I mean, if you're the average person, you should be leveraging. This isn't financial advice coming from me. Again,
Right.
this is the way I do it. I
You're like,
leverage my assets and I try to get as much Bitcoin as I can when it tanks. And then I wait for it to go up and then I leverage against it again and wait for it to take a dip because we know that Bitcoin is volatile. We just have to be prepared for the volatility and expect it. To me, when Bitcoin dips, it's an opportunity.
an
I'm ready.
opportunity to buy. But then you also have to be careful about, um, you have to have the plan and be ready for that margin call if you borrow against it. That's the other part. You have to really be responsible and have that plan.
Absolutely.
Um,
And depending on what you use and who your provider is and like what accounts you're setting up, you want to make sure because there's a lot of different variables, including fees, fee structures, liquidity amounts, margin calls. Nexo is one of my favorite at 83%. And I'm going to be actually, it's one of our next month's articles. Jeff and I are going to be talking about the ideas of liquidity and being able to borrow against your crypto assets instead of selling your crypto assets and really walk you through how we do it, what apps we use, what banks we use, how to set it up, and why you would do it that way. Because again, if you read the crypto commandments, you know it fits with about 7 of those principles.
Yeah, it was so helpful to us. I mean, you guys spent, I don't know, at least an hour with my husband and I, and just helping us. Like I said, it's a different way of thinking about your assets, but we're thinking about an appreciating asset. We're thinking about this differently. And it really made me think of that. What sparked it for me was the Michael Saylor. I don't know if he was talking to Jack or Tucker, or I don't know, maybe it was a couple different conversations, but he was talking about, basically is it Kiyosaki, rich dad, poor dad kind of thing, the way the rich people think about assets. They buy a piece of property, a building in New York, and they leverage it, and they borrow against it and take loans against it. And they never pay it off,
Yeah,
basically.
they take the idea that what's what rich people do, right? It's do what
Hmm.
rich people do is what he says. Because the
Hmm.
concept is rich people don't make income. They borrow against an appreciating asset. So they just move money around, always repaying off loans, but a repayment of a loan is not income. So at the end of the day, yes, these wealthy people don't pay lots of taxes because they're not making any taxable income. The worst kind of income is W-2 income.
But you have to be smart about it. You have to have a plan, and that's where you guys really come in, and Crypto Confidential comes in with the community and all the resources that you guys have and that you provide. And so that's what I wanted to bring to my community and share with them. And you guys, this is something that I paid for myself. This was not a gift. This was something I did as an investment for myself and my family. And none of this is financial advice, but this is something that I wanted to bring to the community and share with you guys. I have a link in the description of this video, and we were just talking about the upcoming meetups. I'll have a updated list, but Westwood and I are going to be,
No, they're all waiting. They're like, "Hey, let us know
yeah,
what's going on with Lisa and Clint's event."
we are definitely doing the
I'm talking about you, bro. I got your back. I asked. I promised.
Yeah, we're definitely doing the Oklahoma City meetup on March 25th here in Oklahoma City. And I'll have all the details for you guys on clintwestwood.net. And then I'm speaking at bitcoinday.io in Oklahoma City on March 26th. Before that, we'll be headed out to Bix's event, and I'm going to announce that on Westwood and I show, because we're still got to work out which two shows, but I think we're going to go to the Santa Barbara and the LA one, but we have to work out details on all that stuff. Um, so we'll do those, and those will be like March 9th and 12th, I think. So lots and lots of shows in March. And then I think we're going to head to, I don't know what's past that. We'll just start with those for now. But definitely the Oklahoma City,
Yeah,
March
we're definitely going
25th
through March.
and
March is like my
26th.
slow month, so I'm excited
Oh,
for
good.
March. You're dreading your March. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of travel. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to go anywhere March 25th and 26th. That's right here in my hometown. So you
You're
guys
going
can
to
all come see
California
me.
then, right? Santa Barbara.
Yeah, Santa Barbara, and I think it's Santa Barbara on the 9th, and then LA on the 12th, I believe. So but I'll double check those dates with Bix and make sure. So we have a special announcement for Bix and Amy. So
Sounds like fun.
it'll
We'll
be
be
very
waiting to
exciting.
hear it. I know a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
our listeners too. They're all waiting to hear your dates, so we'll
Okay.
date them.
And my website worked on, tried to set it up myself, and it was just like a mess. So I hired somebody to do it, and they said it'd be at least 5 days. So hopefully I'll have that all set up, and I can have a pretty announcement for you guys, and it'll look better. So um, thank you to everybody in the chat for joining us. Please go to the link and just check it out. Consider it, because I'm telling you, the resources in it are amazing. The community that's there, the AMAs, they have live Zoom AMAs. You have those professionals that you can ask questions and have those resources for you. Like he said, the the coins that Jeff did the analysis on have already done really well, and they're going to have more and more every month. They put out more and more resources. So I just highly recommend you looking into it and considering it for your family. And just being part of this community has already helped our family so much. So I want to bring that to you guys. Um, we'll have more great stuff for you guys. Today is already Tuesday. I can't believe it. This week is flying by already. DivvyDaddy, Patrick, thank you so much for coming and sharing this day with us. I appreciate it. And we will hopefully see you back soon.
Whenever you want, Lisa, just let me know. Thanks for having me. It's
All
always
right.
fun. Yeah.
All right. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Give us a like, share this video, and let's get the word out there and help more people live the crypto life.